Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So earlier, I was very excited to get a phone call from my sister. She was getting interested in crypto and she had met someone who was very successful in the area, and she called me to just give me some information and get my opinion on a few things. And after asking a few questions, I started to get very hesitant. However, I went on the person's page and I saw that they were very much into certain things such as real estate, and they were doxed. They were very informative. They had a book for sale, and they were very public about everything that they were doing. So that made me feel a little bit better. However, a few moments later, she sent me a little bit of information that just set off all the red flags. And I was so glad she called me before all of this happened, because she was moments away from getting scammed. So today, we're going to discuss the 4 cardinal sins of a scammer within this space. So hopefully you can spot them or help somebody else spot them. So a little background about this. When I found this space, I started to tell my sister all about it. Of course, anything that I find, whether it is discovering anything to do with marketing, online business, graphic design, you name it, I like to share it with her. So she calls me up all the time. She asks questions because she knows I like to research things, and I'll go down that rabbit hole, and I have no problem just spending hours and hours researching things. So when I discovered NFTs, everything with the blockchain, and I told her about it, I got her interested, knowing very well that she's not necessarily one who wants to know all the technical details, how all the blockchains necessarily work, and so forth. She just wants to know what is the end result, what is the value. And of course, I got her into a project. However, of course, she didn't want to do all the technical things. So what happens is she basically funded a purchase, and I hold the NFT for her. Now, when I got this call and she said that she was getting into crypto and there was someone who's very successful, as I said, I go onto the page, check out the guy, and I realize that yes, this is a legitimate person. He's a legitimate business. He offers some courses and so forth, and he's very successful, local here on the island, and she met him face to face. So I said, okay, these are all good things. But as I said, the red flags started to go off, and starts with number 1, the fact that she was on Instagram and this person DMs her. And this is one of those things that we are very familiar with the longer we spend in Web3, especially on Discord. They always say the first thing to do when you join a new server is turn off your DMs. Make sure no one has access to your inbox, be able to send you some fraudulent links and so forth, but do not take any messages. So block everyone. Now, people who are coming over from Web 2, especially on Instagram, which is very Web 2, unlike over on Twitter, where it is a lot more tech savvy, people that are more familiar with NFTs and crypto and so forth. So over on Instagram, DMs are just a way of communication, just another way. It's not even like an open conversation where we're having over on Twitter. So, of course, she gets the DM from the person that she was in contact with, already met, and so forth. So she is just excited that this person is reaching out to her. They're having a very good conversation, and he said that, you know what? You wouldn't even have to necessarily buy one of the courses. I'd be willing to help you get this thing started, and we can discuss this further. He told her to download the Trust wallet, and he sent her a link. So here is Cardinal sin number 2. So not only was this a DM, but then in the DM was also a link. Now, it turns out that this was officially the Trust wallet. However, when she told me these two things, I said, okay, this person you met in person. However, this conversation started off by a DM, and then they sent you a link to download a wallet. I was like, I don't know, this is sounding really fishy. But as I said, I went to the person's page, checked out everything, seems legitimate and so forth. So I was really scratching my head. All my antennas were up, and I was thinking, like, you know, this really doesn't sound right. However, she met the person, and he's so open, so forthcoming, and the information is up there. He has books and everything. I find it very hard to believe that this person might be a scammer. And not to mention that a lot of the things that he was saying as far as investing money was into real estate. And I said, this is not get rich quick. And a lot of the practical information about knowing that it's not an overnight success, put your money into some boring places. And yes, although you're spending on renovations and so forth is an expense, because down the line, you know, the real estate can generate income. Okay, these are the type of things that a legitimate businessman would be saying. However, this person still was setting off some red flags for me because of the information that she was saying. So of course I said to her, I was like, you know what? It just doesn't seem right. I don't know why this person would be DMing you, trying to get you into the stuff, knowing very well that his business stream includes courses, but wants to give it to you for free. It just doesn't sound right. But who knows? She's an attractive young lady. He's a young man. successful, so forth. So maybe that's just his game. Maybe he's just trying to pick up somebody. I don't know. So I was like, not feeling good about the situation, but I didn't want to say all that as far as, he's trying to pick you up or anything, but I was like, just something is not sitting right. And when she told me the link thing now, this is where the third thing came in. She said after she downloaded the Trust Wallet, he said to send her a screenshot of the funding. So I said, yeah, this is definitely not right now, because there is no way anyone would be telling you to send information or screenshots or anything on your phone. That just does not sound right. So I asked her, well, did you tell him any kind of seed phrase or anything of that nature? Did he use that? And she goes, no. I knew that you said that no one should ever have that information and so forth. So no, there was nothing I was going to do with that. I guess he just wanted to see if this was the right wallet that I had and everything was being set up, because initially he was saying that there's two ways you can either fund it by wire transfer or you can use a credit card, and using Trust, you can do that, get started with a very low amount. And he just wanted to make sure everything was okay. So now 3 sins have been committed, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely not right. But this is when he put the nail into the coffin, and she sent me a screenshot of one of the messages. And he said, how much would you like to start off with? And the initial one was, I believe it was 300. And then it showed the ROI, which would be 3,000 and change. Then if you want to start off with 500, the ROI of what that would be. If you want to start off with 5,000, and then what the ROI of that would be. And I said, this is a scam, run. So shortly after that, I guess she was just caught by surprise by how definitive I was, and was just so negative, because normally I am a very open, not quick to cast judgment type of person, but that was just definitive. Close it off, shut it down, run away from the situation. So that caught her by surprise. And within about 2 or 3 minutes, she sent me a message and said, it is not the right guy. And of course, this is what happened. So this scammer created a profile that had a number in it. Everything else looks exactly the same picture, the same information, had lots of followers and so forth. So I said, well, how did you get around to that? And what ends up happening is, you know what? I won't even share the exact details. However, he got her to believe that the reason why she couldn't initially find him on the friends list was because she was typing in something incorrectly. However, once I sounded the alarm, she then wanted to go through everything and typed in everything, ends up on the correct page, and realized that she was communicating with a faked one all along. And the real person said, no, that is definitely not me or anyone associated with me or my company. That is a scam. People are all over the internet pretending to be me. However, there's no affiliation, and I would never operate under those circumstances. I would never send that information to you saying any of that. So yes, the page she initially sent me was the legitimate page, and that information was consistent with that basic message. Someone who sounds like a responsible member of this community, and it was inconsistent with the messages she was getting. However, when she looks at the icon, because this is not a person she was in direct communications with before, that was the only one that was in her inbox before connecting with the real page. So the 4 cardinal sins of a scammer: number 1, initiating a DM. Number 2, sending a link. Number 3, requesting information about a wallet that wouldn't be visible on the blockchain for everyone to see. In this case, it was just a screenshot. However, the inner contents of a private phone is private, and no legitimate person is going to ask for that. In this case, it wasn't the seed phrase. However, it was still private information. It was probably eventually going to lead to the seed phrase or something confidential. But the last and final, most telling, is a financial guarantee showing what the return will be for an initial investment. And if nothing else, it doesn't matter if it is Web 1, 2, 3, any kind of business model, offline, brick and mortar, it doesn't matter. No one, not even Warren Buffett, can guarantee returns. So if someone tells you this is what the ROI will be for your investment, just run away. I don't care what kind of business it is. And since this is crypto, I said the only way that this person could guarantee money or guarantee a return is if they're going to tell you to invest in some coin that they control the supply of. So in theory, on paper, it's going to look like you're making a return. However, it's just them manipulating the price. So, of course, after calling this person out, realizing that this is all a fraud, all of a sudden the person was no longer talkative, not responding or opening messages from her. They had clearly moved on to the next person. So in summary, it is one thing to have these discussions with our friends and family members, getting them interested within the crypto space, but knowing that very well, it might be someone else that says the right words to spark them because they do something that is called social engineering. They might take days, months, or years to build a rapport and get people to trust them before executing their master plan. Now, in crypto, things tend to happen a lot faster, but in this case, he spent all day speaking to my sister. So hopefully just providing information such as this, sharing certain things, the cardinal sins of a scammer, will help people, newbies, to stay safe in the space. So hopefully that's helpful, if not directly to you, at least to someone who might be entering the space for a very first time and doesn't necessarily understand all of the risks. But as usual, I just want to thank you for taking time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Arrow is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.